I'm Pamela Nance, and I'm here to discuss my near-death experience that occurred when I was a young adult. Since I was a young child, I have had a number of spiritually transforming events, but one near-death encounter in my early 30s affected me more than all the others. I was working double shifts at a gourmet restaurant, finishing my undergraduate courses under pressure, and getting ready for my senior year final exams in April 1990. My stomach ulcers flared up and were very uncomfortable because of the stress. I had run out of medication and didn't have time to visit my doctor, so I was attempting to manage the pain. On Friday, April 20, while working the dinner shift, I was in excruciating pain and wasn't sure I could finish. There was a barely audible pop in the gut that ceased the anguish. I was relieved to be pain-free and to go through my dinner shift and head home. I felt terrible the following morning, but I assumed it was a stomach ailment. I spent most of the day curled up on the couch. I got ready to go when my husband reminded me about our dinner reservation. I felt nauseous when I got home, rushed to the bathroom, and puked. Owing to my red wine and cherry sauce dinner, my husband and I mistook the vomit for blood. Sunday morning, after I went to bed, my spouse got up to visit a flea market. I was thirsty and queasy for the first time, and I wanted to go with him. I got out of bed, called at him to come back downstairs with a big drink, and excited to use the restroom. Lights out is the last thing I recall. Later on, I realized my husband had heard me give up. Upstairs, he found me unconscious and lying on the floor with my eyes closed. I was gone when he picked me up, placed me on the bed, and began CPR. I was standing atop a range of snow-capped mountains when the dazzling white light finally went out. I noticed snow beneath my feet. This mountain range was surrounded by an emerald-colored valley that was breathtaking. An opposite set of mountains stretched beyond the horizon, also covered with snow. I noticed a large, magnificent tree when I turned to face the valley. That's when the tree of life beckoned to me. I came to the realization that this was my true life and that everything else paled in comparison to this instant. This was my place, my home. For the first time, I experienced spiritual life and was drawn beneath that tree. I had a guest. There were animals of all kinds all around me, no humans. There were all types of animals there, including elephants, tigers, lions, ducks, bunnies, and squirrels. The birds sung like angels in a choir of love all around me. From these creatures arose Holly, my Rottweiler, who passed on Thursday night at the age of 14. She was ill, so we kept her at home. At 2 in the morning, I was with her when she passed away. She wasn't the 14-year-old I remembered. She was the energetic puppy of 1 to 2 years old. She wiggled her tail, radiant, youthful, and vibrant. I never thought I would see Holly again, so I broke down in tears. I could feel her face beneath my palms. She was there. I held her, kissed her, and sobbed. It was the most amazing experience I've ever experienced when the animals began to sing. Everything is bursting with color, affection, and unfathomable splendor. There's nothing like it in human life. I heard my name being yelled from a distance as I was enjoying this romantic situation. My spouse was phoning, I heard. Even though I didn't want to give in, there was fear in his voice. I gave in, and then I felt drawn out of the valley and back into my body. My spouse told me to stay still since an ambulance was on its way when I woke up. It was a dualistic time for me. Half of my mind separated. I was staring down at my spouse and myself from above the room like a spirit. As I got closer to the steps, I saw the paramedics set up the ECG lines and blood pressure cuff. I could see it all and sense it physically. As they wheeled me out of the house, into the ambulance, and to the hospital, this split consciousness persisted. I looked at things from both the physical and spiritual standpoint. I was directed to the hospital by 2 emergency room codes where I saw treatments that could have saved lives. I saw every bit of it. I watched as family members came and went as the doctors adjusted my feet and took care of whatever needed to be done. I experienced a spiritual awakening and was transported back in time to a stunning setting in the 2nd code. I cannot adequately describe this garden, but it had the most lush green grass you could ever imagine. It was so smooth and dense that it felt like a carpet beneath my feet. There were gorgeous trees and flowers in the garden, a clear blue sky with fluffy white clouds, and birds soaring overhead. On the garden side, there was a beautiful reflecting pool that begged me to lie down. Thus I did, As I lay in this healing pool of energy, I experienced a spiritual renewal and healing. I could have spent a lifetime in that pool since it was so healing and tranquil. After I got out of the pool, I noticed a hand-carved garden bench among the flowers and trees. As I sat there, I noticed a hazy cloud moving toward my right. It approached and a Buddhist monk arrived. He appeared to be in his mid-40s and was dressed in an orange robe with a pinkish-orange cloth down the front and over his shoulder. His hair was short, his face round and lovely, and he was barefoot. He sat down next to me on the bench and gave me his name. He referred to himself as Hot. In this garden, Hot leads the way. I come to this garden in between lifetimes, he told me. Before I rise in the spirit realm, this is my state of spiritual purity. He explained that I begin in the garden, study the healing abilities of all species, and then learn how to heal plants and animals. In this garden, Hot is my guide, but I have other guides for varying phases and educational backgrounds. He gave me a tour and led me to the edge of this exquisite garden, where we were treated to a verdant pastoral picture populated by every kind of animal imaginable. While the young animals pursued one another, the older creatures slept. I followed Hot's invitation to take a stroll in this stunning area. With all the love from the animals, I felt at home there. I was instructed to learn here first by Hot. That scene was hidden behind a shimmering, iridescent curtain, and I made my way back to the garden with Hot. He told me to go and come back, even though I had a lot of questions. I felt like I was pulled back into my body when he said that. In the intensive care unit, I woke up. My spouse was relieved that I was awake while my parents and sister were in tears. I had been away from Earth for 3 days in this amazing place with my spirit guide, Hot, after spending 72 hours in the intensive care unit. I also had significant blood volume loss. I felt that pop, and my stomach exploded. My ulcer broke open, and I bled for 36 hours. They were unable to locate the bleeding source, thus it took some time to stabilize me. It was difficult for me to start the transfusion because of my unique blood type. After 5 days, I made it out of the hospital alive. My spouse took me home, and as we got out of the car, I had a completely new perspective on the world. Every plant in my front yard was alive and vibrant. Our 300-year-old oak tree deserved a hug. The valley tree of life sprang to mind. I was unfamiliar with the plant aura and energy. See the life. I asked my husband over and over, "Can you perceive the energy in these plants?" All he wanted was for me to go to bed. I got allowed inside the house. It took me a few weeks to restore my strength, but in the interim, I became aware of both physical and spiritual changes in myself. No light switch was operated without causing the bulb to burst. Turning it on would cause a lamp bulb to blow. I was unable to go grocery shopping. If I took cans from the shelf, I would be in complete shock. I could see it a spark and hear a pop if I touched the can and the metal shelves at the same time. Very uneasy. My partner assisted me in taking the items down from the shelf. I was atomically and energetically altered by this meeting. Like me, many people have encountered synchronicity. After graduating, I worked in a department of complementary and alternative medicine at a medical university that also taught. Healing touch was taught in that department. I could become a healing touch practitioner while I worked there. Using my newly discovered energetic gift from the near-death experience seemed like a wonderful idea. After obtaining my Level 4 Healing Touch Practitioner certification, I discovered that I could effectively work with the auras of friends, family members, and hospital patients. I looked after the yard plants and the pets. You gained this transformative physique from the other side during your near-death experience. I had a gift from childhood experiences that was awakened, but this interaction in my 30s gave it new life. This prompted me to look into shamanism and past life regression. In order to comprehend this transformative and spiritually noteworthy occurrence, I obtained a master's degree in both archaeology and anthropology. My message is that we are not just our physical selves. We are energy and love. We are linked to the Creator by the affection of so many people on the other side. When you come home, you realize that love matters most. The world can change if we realize how interconnected we are with everyone on earth. God's love unites us all, no matter who we are or what we believe. Love gave us everything we own. Then we can share affection. I hope life on Earth realizes in the future that love is interconnected. Enhancing our stewardship is necessary to safeguard the environment, wildlife, humans, and our planet. That's my story. For more information on me, see the description box below. I have a website and YouTube. I appreciate you listening.